A moment to load, but there we go. Mhm. Yes, we're live. We're live on Facebook. And the interview is live on our page. So I'm just going to quickly copy the link and post it in our group as well, so people can watch it from both places. And in the meantime, I'm going to tell everyone why we are here. Because this is the third episode or the third time that we're meeting for our expert interviews. And today we're speaking to Marian. Marian is a yoga teacher from Venezuela, but she now lives in the States. And you actually studied journalism and also write articles for Yoga International. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. Thank
Yes.
you.
So today we're going to speak about what you need to know when teaching yoga to beginners, either in person or online, because this is something that you really focus on. But before we start speaking about the topic, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where
Thank
do you
you. Thank you, Anne, for inviting me. And hi, everyone that are looking us. Well, I am from Venezuela and I moved to United States a long time ago because I studied a journalist in Venezuela, and then I came here to study a master's degree. And then I started to, do my thing, journalism, work as a reporter and producer. But then I was very into, a healthier lifestyle. And then I went to a yoga class, but at the beginning when I started, I didn't like it. That's something that I really want to address, because that happens to some people. And a lot of my friends that are yoga teachers, they tell me different stories, that they fell in love in the first beginning class. And for me, it wasn't. I felt very discouraged, very frustrated. I didn't understand very well the English. So the language, it was like a barrier for me. But it was a lot of other things that as teacher now, I rather to approach in a different way, just to help more people to keep practicing and encourage them to keep going. So I didn't practice for like 4 years. I took just a couple of classes and I didn't like it. But then I found in a studio that it was completely different. And the teacher was so helpful, and she took the time to explain the poses. And for me, it was very different. It was very nice. And then I moved. I found another studios near my home. And then I was more curious to keep going. And then I found myself studying the teacher training, just for fun, for curiosity, because I wanted to, to know more about how to do the poses. But then it was just like magical, that opened me to this other side of me. And I fell in love with the philosophy, especially. And I started doing teaching classes, and then I'm here right now. My story changed a little bit.
Exactly. It's really interesting. And I think the more I do these interviews and the more that I get to know people, it's actually pretty common that we don't like the first class that we go to, or we feel frustrated. So you said that language was a barrier for you, but you did live in the States already. How did you learn English?
I learned in Venezuela, and we in the school system teach English like second language, but it's very basic. You like in other countries, you don't learn like the slang, or they prepare you like the grammar and that kind of stuff, that when you come here to the other countries, you have to learn by experience. And it was my first month living here, and I'm living in Miami. So in Miami, a lot of people speak Spanish. I mean, the majority, I think like it's 90% of people living in Miami in South Florida speak Spanish. So it wasn't very, a very, appropriate environment to learn faster. And the class was in English, of course, and it was my first yoga class ever. And
Yeah.
I didn't understand very well the cues and the language, and for me it was a barrier. But as I said before, it was also the approach of the class, of the teacher, and I felt really, this is not for me. And I stopped, but then something changed.
Exactly. And so afterwards you start picking it up again, you started going to the studio close to your home and did your yoga teacher training. What was that like doing that in English?
It was challenging. Well, it happens after like living here for 5 years. So I was, I knew more the language. But it was challenging because you have to read those beautiful texts that sometimes they are written and in a very poetic way.
Yeah.
So for me, it was also, it was challenging, but in a good way, because I'm like a geek and I like to learn and learn things. And for me, that's the other way. It's more like encouraging to me personally. And it was a really good point. I didn't feel like it was a barrier that time, because I was more settled, more self-confidence. And for me, that's one of the things that I have been learning with my yoga studies.
Exactly. I think a lot of people in the community recognize themselves in it. It's a challenge to learn the language of yoga in English. It's a challenge to learn English in general because it's a foreign language. But especially all the yogic terms and, like you said, the language that they use in the books it's very different from what you learn in other classes or with other teachers. So there's a bit of a difference there. So then,
A bit.
yeah. So you said you did your training just out of curiosity, maybe to find out more about yourself, but you started teaching and you started teaching specifically yoga to beginners. Why did you make this choice?
Well, in the teacher training, we had to teach a certain amount of classes to get the certification.
Yeah.
And well, I did it, but then I saw that I like it, that it was something that I enjoyed. It was not something that I have to do because I needed for the termination. I mean, to have the hours, but it was something that I enjoyed. And the people that starting to come to my class, they were like me. Actually, they didn't practice yoga before and they like it. And it was like I was growing with them. I was learning with them, to teaching and they practicing. So for me, it was like natural. And I fell in love to see the a person or a friend. In this case, when I was starting, it was my almost all my friends that they don't know how to, for example, to step on the mat and help them. Hey, put your feet in this way, engage your abs, and guide them. For me, it was like natural to help them and see them grow. And for me, that's really rewarding. So for me, it was like natural. I want to help them. And for me, it's very, important that if I have a person that have never practiced yoga before, that if they come to my class, I want to opening that door the most welcoming way. So if your first class, I'm here to help you. I'm here to serve you in the best way possible, that you have a good experience. Because I know that for you it's going to be a little harder, because I've been there. And I don't want that you have a discouraging first experience.
Absolutely. It's really beautiful how we can transform the things that we experience as negative or as challenging, and then take them as learning points to help other people that go through the same things, right?
Yes, yes. For me, that's the thing that I love the most about teaching beginners, is
Yeah.
because I've been in contact for so many people telling me, I want to practice, but I never done. I don't know how to do it, and I feel afraid. And hey, come to my class, and you will see. It's very easy at the beginning, maybe talking in that way, that they don't feel like pressure. Because I understand, when we are starting, we are going to, our minds are in different ways. We don't even know how to distinguish right to the left, so our minds are completely, jumping for another place to another. So for me, it's very important that they feel safe, they feel that they are learning with, in a way that they can feel, encouraged to keep going.
Exactly. Really, really nice. It's really cool to hear, because teaching beginners is not the same as teaching people that have some experience already. What do you think are the biggest differences?
Well, I think this is they sometimes they don't know what is going to happen in class. And is for me is they are sometimes nervous that what is going to happen, what is going to look like, because sometimes when we are starting, or even when we have some years in practice, our egos are start to compare with the other student, with the teacher. And so
Yeah.
for me, it's very important that they feel like whatever are you are doing your best, and you are learning. So be there. Don't compare. Don't be discouraged for where you looking, are you around. And that's the thing that for the beginners, that I think this, when we are starting, we feel like maybe we are not enjoying the class. So when a person have a little more classes, uh, they feel like more safer, and they can go and flow with the class a little more, in a fun way. But when the people is starting, sometimes they feel like, I can do this, so I don't know how to do it, and maybe I can't do it ever. No, you can't do it. Just wait and be patient. So as a teacher, we have, I mean, this is what I think, that as a teacher, if we develop that sense that we can read our students, we can help them in a better way, especially reading in the mat their faces, how they are enjoying the poses, because that tells you more that, I don't know if they are talking to you at the end of the class. Because if you are more aware, it's a lot of job, a lot of work, I know, but it's part of your work as a teacher. If you are more uh, observing, if you are develop more conscious about what are they doing, their faces, their expressions, how they are breathing, they're gonna feel that you are into them.
Exactly.
So that helps.
It's a really, really good point. It's often something that you hear other teachers say, or maybe you hear your trainers say when you do your teacher training. They learn to read the room or learn to read the people, the students in your room. And very often they don't really explain what that means, but I think you just gave a very nice description of it. It's something that we focus on in the courses a lot because it's so important that you learn how to feel the vibe of the room, what the energy is like, because most students won't tell you what has happened in their day or how they really feel, and they might not even know how they feel, but you can sense so much by paying attention to their body language and their facial expressions.
Yes, even ourselves in our own practice. And sometimes when I practice at home, I feel so tense that I'm at some point, like I realize to myself why my face is so tense, because I feel it. And that happens when you are more aware about your own self.
Yeah.
So if you, I mean, it's a good point starting with you in your own practice at your home and or even in a class, but especially when you can do it by your own, in your own home, in your own space, you are more aware of all of those sensations because you are with yourself. You don't have a teacher there, or you don't have the fellow student there to distract you a little bit, or or help you. But I mean, in this case, maybe can distract your mind that is always jumping around. But when you concentrate yourself in you practice, you start to developing more that kind of awareness. And when you are teaching, then you can see it in your student, no matter what, if it's in online or it's a personal class.
Exactly. This is the reason why your self-practice is so important, right? We need to
Yes.
keep practicing to understand what other people experience or could possibly experience.
Yes, yes.
So tell us, what are the main or the key aspects that you need to take into account when you teach beginners?
Mm, I think that be patient, to repeat a lot, uh, to show, but also to maybe sometimes uh, use uh, use some explanation that they can relate with something in their daily lives, that they can always like be aware. I don't know right now, but maybe sometimes that I use is when we are doing poses that are challenging, like Utkatasana, chair pose, that everybody's like, I want to get out of this. So relate with their philosophy. Hey, you stay here as long as you can, but keep going, because in life we have that kind of struggles. So we have to keep grounded in our feet, grounded, and keep going. So that kind of message help them to be aware that the practice, they are going to take themselves out of the mat, and that helps. For the beginners, it's very important that you have very patient and very humble, that you don't know everything, because every body is different. So you have to keep learning, and keep learning how to assess different type of body, especially if you teach different ages, because sometimes it's different when you have a beginners class, but if you have a 20 something person that is beginner, but also a 65, 70 years old person, is going to be different. So you have to be very aware that doing a class that is helping and serving both of them, and assessed. You have to, you know, help them to use the props and observe themselves and see that they are different, and the state that they are is the state that they are. So don't push so much, because sometimes we want the student go maybe in a different direction, but we don't know exactly what is going into their minds, because we can see the pose, we can correct that, but we can see their faces, but their mind is a little more you know, different. So be observe, you know, give what you have in your in your soul to them, to serve them better.
Exactly. So this comes back again to reading the room, understanding what you're doing and who you're teaching, and especially just sense what they feel like or could feel like in this moment. I think it's also important, especially with beginners, to offer loads of variations or options, right? I think you mentioned props. How do you go on about offering props to these people?
Yes, that's a good point. Variations. That's something that I said in my class, because uh, I try when I teach, especially in Spanish, when I teach, I try to offer different options, because sometimes people are struggling with the balance.
Mm-hmm.
Another, they have good balance, but they don't have, you know, resistance, and they are a little weaker, and they feel the pressure in the legs. I mean, a lot of variation. So if I see somebody that is struggling with something, I try to, hey, if you feel in this way, you can do it, the pose in that direction, in this other way. You can do it with this block. If you are struggling with the balance, you can use the block or something, or the wall. I mean, offering that is not a class for just only person. If it's a private, of course, but if it's a group class, it's very challenging, but it's rewarding that you are helping different people at the same time. And especially if you are doing online, that probably you have people from different cities, different uh, countries. And so be aware that they are doing your class, but they are different as well.
Absolutely. Really good point. And I think as well with beginners, you said this earlier, you have people that are not yet at a level, or they don't have the experience yet to do certain things, or maybe it's not possible for them. And one of these things is offering variations or offering props. And you said that you have to be very patient. Now, there are asanas I personally wouldn't practice with beginners, but I would like to know from you, what asanas do you practice with? Yes, what do you practice with beginners? What do you recommend using?
I think that, I mean, is I think the asanas are for everybody. I mean, the basic ones that we use, for example, in a sun salutation, that
Hmm.
are the base, the foundation of almost everything. Warrior 1, 2, 3, uh, Trikonasana, Utkatasana. I mean, those poses that are building as a strength in their body, a strength in their mind, that are they're grounded, and poses that are challenging, but also like they are like um, setting the way that they can go further. So I mean, I think everything is suitable for them, as soon if you are a good teacher
Mm-hmm.
and you know how to guide them, and you know where is the limit for that day.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, I mean, as a student, I want to do something more advanced in my mind. Maybe my ego that day is a little more bright. And so, but my body is telling me, no, your hip is not open enough today, so step there. But I came back to the at the beginning of the conversation. If you honor your own practice and you are aware of yourself, that in your own body, in your own practice, you can see that in your students as well. So I think that the postures are good for them as soon as you can leave them in a safe way.
Mm-hmm.
And explaining well, and because for me that is very important, that you explain the pose as better as they can understand. Or for example, if you are going to do a headstand, because sometimes they feel like, yeah, I want to do it, I want to practice that, but at some points you explain them and tell them in a very respectful way, hey, do it this way, but for today you can only do this.
Mm-hmm.
The next class you try a little more, but for today you are fine here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to changing their minds that they can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You are changing their mind or help them that you will do it eventually, for sure. I think. But you want in class that encourage them, you will do it, but maybe not today, but in the next class you are going to start again, and you are going to practice, and you're going to see the difference. And always, if you have a regular student, you are a very aware teacher of what you are doing and what they are doing. If you have a regular student, you're going to see the progress.
Mm-hmm.
So be very aware of that and celebrate that advance. Because for example, I always checking my students in my group class or my private class, hey, how have you advanced? You now can go and stretch a little more your hamstrings. When you started, remember that you didn't do that. Oh no, I didn't know. I think that I can do it. No, you have done very well. So encourage, and because that helps them to develop strength, develop self-confidence, and you want to do your students feeling that way, right?
Absolutely. So really what you're saying as well is that you're there as a guide to help these people explore their bodies and also create this self-confidence of what they're capable of.
Yes, because we are not yoga teachers just for do the poses. I mean, that's not my approach. My classes that I teach, yes, we are doing the asanas, we are doing the sequences, that's fun, but you are starting to developing awareness of who you are, of what is going on in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And we have self-confidence issues, all of us, and some more than others. On some days I don't feel the same way. So as a yoga teacher, for me, it's very important that we give a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in my case, I give a little more than asanas. That I don't feel that there is something that is more deeper. There is something that is no touchable. It's like more that, hey, there is something that unites us, but you are getting more open to receive that kind of knowledge because you are here. So it's a good way, at least for me, to give that kind of philosophy during the class.
Yeah.
What is a better way that see them and show them that they are developing, they are growing. They are growing in their practice, but if they are growing in their practice, it's because they are disciplined. It's a good way. If they are disciplined, it's because they feel like, hey, this is my time for me. I have the discipline to every Sunday come to class, every Monday come to class and keep going and keep going. That's really good. So as a yoga teacher, you can encourage them to that, to develop that sankalpa shakti. That's divine will. And because yoga is help them to grow in a different level. If not, we are doing another kind of physical activities.
Very good. Yes, absolutely. And I think you said something about trying to help them stay disciplined and motivated. Are there, and I think at the start you also spoke about encouragement. Are there specific words or quotes or affirmations that you use a lot when you teach beginners?
That's not that I have like a quote in a specific. Is more that what I'm seeing that moment. I mean, I repeat that. Be aware that what are you seeing? What are they showing you during the class? But also if I prepare a class for, today we are going to work in our third chakra, for example, or strong will, or willpower. So we are going to do a class that is very strong for our abs, but then my discourse is going to be related with that, to be strong, to be disciplined in a very good way, not in like, military way. No, it's like, no, it's like, be aware what are you doing and keep going, because this is a long track that we have in yoga. We are keep going all the time. So sometimes I prepare my class depending on some sutras that I want to talk about, or something that is in the news, for example. So that's my my background. Something that is in the news that is the moment. I try to figure out something that I can talk about in the class and relate in the class. So yes, but it's not like set in stone. Everything is like changeable.
Exactly. Very nice. And then we spoke about props such as maybe using blocks in, let's say, triangle pose. Are there other props that you use a lot?
I use an encourage for straps, but mostly straps and blocks. They are very good for beginners. They are, I always say they are there. They are your best friends. So use them because you need it. Because sometimes I heard people that say, no, I don't use props because I can do it. It's okay. I use props and my teachers use props. I mean, that doesn't mean that you can't, or you are weak, or you are, there is something that your body is not capable of yet. So that is a tool to help you.
And sometimes even if you're very experienced doing some poses or practices, props can really help you to get deeper as well. I've seen many times in like a seated forward fold, people put blocks in front of their feet because it gives them more length. So it's definitely not used for only beginners or beginner sequences. Absolutely. Could you tell us a little bit, because I'm assuming that you've also been to other beginner classes and you know other people that teach beginners. Could you tell us about things that you would like to see more of in classes that are taught by teachers that maybe are new teaching beginners?
Well, I don't know. I haven't been in a beginner class for so quite long.
Yeah.
Not because I don't want, it's because, well, after the pandemic hit, I haven't taken so many classes. I just teach and I do my practice here at home. But maybe like more, give more variations
Mm-hmm.
to different type of people. I think that it will be really nice to give more variations,
Yeah.
because no everybody can do a warrior one when they are starting,
Mm-hmm.
and so maybe give that options, more variations in a same pose,
Mm-hmm.
because it helps to develop strength and self-confidence in the students that can do it in the first or third class.
Yeah, beautiful. It's so important that we make these classes very accessible and very inclusive, because
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're new to yoga and you had that experience of not feeling very welcome or maybe frustrated with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
it's so important that we are there to actually observe what's going on and what these people really, really need from you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other tips for yoga teachers?
I would say that keep learning,
Mhm.
keep educating yourself about how to assess students. There are a lot of good teachers that has workshops and programs that merge yoga and therapeutic. So that kind of knowledge help you when a student that is a beginner has, for example, just for name a few, tight shoulders or a problem in their knee, something like that, and that helps you to give them a better service. Also, if you have the opportunity to keep learning about philosophy,
Mm.
there is a, a lot of sages that are still alive. They are old, but are still alive. So you have time to to read them, to listen in to their conferences, and that's going to give you the possibility to enrich your own practice,
Mm.
enrich your mind, your knowledge, strengthen your intellect, and give that to your students. For me, that's very important, and I still do it. I still reading my mornings, um, and you are an example for them.
Mm.
If you want to be a good teacher, I'm sorry, but you are you have like this responsibility in your back. So you are an example for them. So if you want that your student understand you how to do a better Utkatasana, for example, so he is develop that discipline, but be disciplined yourself with your own student, your own studies.
Mhm.
You are keep going. And for example, I want to add another thing, that in my case that I teach in Spanish, it's very important for me to teach in my own language. Not only because it's maybe easier to talk, but because I know that my Hispanic community, my Hispanic speaker people deserves to know about this knowledge. They deserve to know more about what is yoga and how yoga can help them.
Mhm.
So if you have in your group people that are not English speaker, English is not their first language, I encourage them to teach in their own language too, because in English we have the huge possibility to find, as I say, a lot of books, materials, sages, teachers that they speak in English. So in your own language, you can give them to them and give to your people that kind of knowledge that is, is very profound. So for me, it's very important that my Hispanic community knows about my articles, about my social media, that this beautiful philosophy that is more than 5,000 years ago is for them as well. So if we keep studying, we keep learning, we are more aware of that, and we can give all of that to other people, to our students. And even if it's another language, maybe in Spanish we don't have that kind of access more so easy like we have in English. So for me, it's very important that I can, give them that possibility to know.
Yeah, exactly. That's really beautiful. I really, really understand what you mean. It's not always easy to get all the yogic resources in your own languages, and that's what we focus on. Obviously, what we do is teach yoga and English to teach around the world, but always next to teaching in your own language, because it's very, very important that we stay true to our roots and keep teaching and spreading the words of yoga with everyone in every language that we speak.
Yes, yes.
Very nice. Thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Is there anything else that you would like to add or recommend or share?
Well, I think that if you are doing this, it's because you really love them. So keep going, keep practicing yourself, keep keep studying, and I'm preparing a workshop for beginners. Right now, I'm launching with Yoga International in a few weeks. So it's in Spanish for everybody that haven't practiced before, or they are beginners and they want to know a little more. So that's a project that I'm working on right now that you can find online through Yoga International. I keep as a student, as a teacher, keep doing what you love, keep growing your own practice for yourself. And as soon as you growing up and blossom, you are giving that naturally to your people.
Absolutely. Very beautiful and very exciting. You've got this course coming up with Yoga International. That's new to me too. Really cool.
Yes, yes.
When does it start?
And I think for this month, or maybe for the middle of September.
Right.
We are preparing right now. I'm just tape the videos. It has poses, the asanas, some asanas, how, for example, how to do warrior 1, warrior 2, 3, Utkatasana, cobra pose. I mean, the basic poses that build a class. And then I have a part that is dedicated to philosophy, what is mind, the intellect, because I think that it's very important that people knows about what is going to their mind is affecting their life. So we can learn about that and be more aware. I think that this the main part of the course. Be aware of the workshop. Be aware of what are you doing? What the things are you doing? Be encouraging people to keep going. That's the thing with this.
Very nice. It's really, really cool. Congratulations on that. Very nice.
Thank you.
Milestone. Where else can we find you? Because you're active on Instagram. You've got a Facebook page. On what name can we find you?
My Instagram account is Marian Marveld D. And my Facebook page is Yoga with Marian, as well as my YouTube channel, Yoga with Marian, and my website, yogawithmarian.com. So you can go there and check a little more about the things that I do.
Absolutely. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for joining. For those that are watching, I see there's a few actually. Do you have questions? I'm going to quickly check if there's questions that came in during our chat. Because no questions just now. Okay. So if you're watching or you're watching the replay, always feel free to send in questions either in the DMs on Facebook or on Instagram, or just send an email. You all know where to find us. And I just want to quickly mention that in 2 weeks from now, we start the Teach Yoga and English mini course. So if you haven't signed up yet and you want to join, also feel free to do this.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really, really nice. Thank you for sharing your time and your wisdom with us. It's really nice to finally meet you face to face.
Yeah, really. It was very nice to talking to you. It was very special. And thank you. We are yoga friends now. So we are keeping in touch.
Amazing. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Marian.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for watching too. I will see you later.